Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to my YouTube channel, Venture Beyond. My name's Anthony Brancato. This is a Ram ProMaster 2500 medium wheelbase that I'm making into a camper van. Because of COVID, everything's been pretty hectic and I've been trying to create this video for about 2 weeks now. Enjoy! Okay, so the first step for me is actually to mark out these at 2 inches, then 36 inches, and another 2 inches on each end because I'm going to be drilling all the way through the van floor. And basically I'll be putting washers and lock nuts on the bottom of the van and then caulking around it so it's waterproof. And then I have to do all 10 of them like that. But these are the bolts that I'm going to be putting through. It'll have just barely enough to poke through the van floor and into the wood. But I'm also going to countersink it a little bit with paddle bit, wide enough so that I can actually get a ratchet head over top of this to tighten it down. So I'm going to be using this 11mm bit, and it just barely fits in there. It's perfect actually. Alright, let's continue. Okay, so I just figured out that I'm going to need a hut to go get another 10. So I've got, put another 9 down here, and then just some small ones to fill in like cracks that are left over, and then like over there in that corner, and in that corner. So this channel is going to be about building this van at first, but then it's going to start building up to me traveling, rock climbing, mountain biking, and me just doing a lot of different things because that's where my interests are. And then I may try to, eventually span out into, building vans for people and helping them out with things. Okay, we are back with all our lumber. Now we're ready to cut it up and fit it. Then we're going to screw the bolts to the floors and go ahead and bolt it up. Also, another reason why I'm building this is because rent here in Oklahoma City is pretty outrageous. So I figured out that building this van would actually be cheaper in the long run. On top of that, I could go anywhere in the world, anywhere in the United States, and still live there for basically free, except for the payments on the van. So that's a pretty major upside, that I get to travel and see the States and meet tons of cool people. I probably could have saved myself some time and money by using longer boards. If there's not 15 feet available, I would suggest going to at least 12. It seems like when I'm using different modes on my camera, like this is just regular video mode, the lighting is horrible on this, but when I switch to hyperlapse, it turns out really good. The lighting is spot on. You'll see what I mean. The lighting on my hyperlapse function is really good. You see the difference between the last clip and this one? Already there's so much more light. I think I might be using the wide sensor instead of the smaller one. Still learning a lot about cameras right now. Okay, now the next part before I bolt these to the floor, drilling more holes, I gotta fill in these holes with some caulking, and there's a lot of them. I ended up calling a friend of mine out because my drill ran out of batteries and I just didn't have time to charge it, and then my bits were also getting pretty dull. Alright guys, so the subflooring is in. We have it all the way attached to the bottom, basically. Yeah, those aren't coming up. Each of these bolts are rated to 90 pounds. I've got caulking underneath of the board and around the bolt, and then underneath of the van we have all of that. We ran into some frame issues, so we had to go around it, but that's the end result. And that's all the way down. Yeah, it's kind of a mess, but that's generally what you get. Now that I have the joist laid and bolted down, it's time for me to put the 3/4 inch plywood down. Here I'm just taking some cardboard paper and measuring out the wheelbase. And really in this I'm basically jerry-rigging everything because this is not the way it should be going. Now it's time to do the extremely dangerous part of the job and cut these 48-inch wide pieces down to size. This was extremely difficult because the driveway is at an angle and it's only one person, so now I'm laying the pieces that I just cut down to measure them out and make sure that they're all ready. I briefly tried to create a large cardboard paper piece to go on the inside of the van, but that failed, and it was an extreme waste of time. Here I'm now cutting out the wheelbase. Okay, I just figured something amazing out. So I got this board cut out to fit there, there, and there. Well, on the flip side, it fits there too. And now I don't have to create another stencil. I can just flip that onto the piece that I'm cutting and then automatically have this be the stencil. And everything will be accurate, everything will be properly measured. Super excited. Okay, so I lost the footage for cutting the other side, but basically I got both of them cut. And my allergies are super bad, so forgive the noises that I'm making. But right here, I'm cutting out the front piece, and I do have to do a little bit of adjusting, but it fit pretty well. It's just I had to do some tweaks to it. And right here, I'm putting in the floor insulation. This was probably the second messiest thing that I've done on this van build, and probably the most time-consuming part. But I eventually learned that you can use a Sawzall bit meant for steel and cut it pretty well. And that's what I'm doing here. It's literally 10 times faster than using a razor blade. It was so much better.
I'm double layering all the insulation because it just adds more R value, and the boards underneath of that piece of plywood is 2 inches thick, but the insulation, it just sticks up just a 1/4 inch, so I'm not too worried about that. It's just not ideal, but once I get the plywood down, it basically sits right over top of it, and the insulation, it may get compact over time, so the floor may sink in a little bit. I don't know, that's going to be trial and error. And I'm just using 2-inch Starbit screws for this. Now it's time to start on the insulation in the front. Overall, I'm super happy with this build so far. In the next video, I'll be creating a mattress from some stuff that I picked up at Walmart. And that's it. So make sure you like, subscribe, and I'll be back for more. And I'd love to hear your advice in the comments below.